and welcome to Animation Triad. I, of course, am your humble host, Stu, and with me, as always, are...
Lish!
And...
Teddy D.
That's right, and today we have a special review for a special friend of Animation Triad. Sonny Boyd, this is for you! And, of course, all of our loyal subscribers.
And speaking of subscribers, if you are new here and enjoy animated reviews, be sure to click on the subscribe button down below so that way you can always get more right here with us.
So join us, initiates, as we investigate the Great Mouse Detective here on Animation Triad.
The Great Mouse Detective! Ooh, this is the film that basically launched the Disney Renaissance back in the day. And if you're too young to remember or know what that is, it's basically when Disney started getting its shit together again.
The Golden Age.
Yeah. I mean, it started with this, and then it went on from, like, Little Mermaid, and then there was
Beauty and
the Beast, big time, Lion King. Yeah.
Not all in sequence as we're listing them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is after a period of time when they had a lot of, I don't know if I'd call them flops, but more or less just not as successful.
Yeah.
Be it your Oliver and Company, or your Rescuers.
Yeah.
Damn.
I love those movies. Same here. Or Fox and the Hound, stuff like that.
Oh. That was an era.
All of those!
They are good films.
It's clearly an era where nobody had taste, I guess.
Yeah.
Sword in the Stone was maybe the one that I wasn't quite as fond of.
Oh, I like that one.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, well,
Oh.
accounting for taste, as we've already mentioned.
Well, there's also, they also did The Black Cauldron.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
Cauldron.
Underrated, I think, to some degree, but has
But
its flaws.
we are on a tangent.
Yes, we are. Tangent time.
Everybody pay up.
Everybody pay up. Everybody. There we go. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Get down.
Indeed.
So mice.
Mice, yes. So,
Talking mice.
yes, talking mice. So, yes, The Great Mouse Detective is actually based off of a book series by Eve Titus. The first book in the series was called Basil of Baker Street. And that is exactly what this movie was originally going to be called. But then there was a memo passed around Disney saying that they had changed the name to The Great Mouse Detective. This actually started off a huge controversy. A lot of people really hated that name in the business. But they went with it anyway.
I get that.
Yeah.
I do get that. The Great Mouse Detective. I mean, the reason why I'm okay with it now is because it's a classic. It's all I've heard for years. But while it is descriptive, it's also just so generic.
Yeah.
It really is. But I will say this about the books. There are 5 of them, I believe, and they have quite a bit of story to them. The books are very different than the actual movie in regards to the characters. The weird thing is, though, and I don't think either of you have read the books.
I didn't even know there were books. So.
All right, fair enough.
I didn't know there were books.
Let me just drop a little wisdom on you here.
Lay down some knowledge.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I gotta admit, I actually prefer the movie to the book, which is weird because I'm not usually that person who does that.
Right.
But I think the characters were much more intriguing in the movie than they were in the books.
Because?
Well, as the name would imply, the Great Mouse Detective, or Basil, is a detective, and he is strongly influenced by Sherlock Holmes.
He's basically the mouse version of Sherlock Holmes.
He really is. But in the original book, he's just a giant fanboy of Sherlock Holmes. He literally watches Sherlock Holmes work, takes notes, and tries his best to mimic him as close as humanly possible.
This guy, in the movie, however, just steals his dog and acts like a dick.
Yeah, but is much more enjoyable, I found.
Well, he's a good-looking mouse. I'm just gonna put it out there. But he was kind of a jerk.
Oh, yeah.
He was, say, kind of in the most hyperbolic way. This guy was kind of awful in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because the other iterations of Sherlock that I've seen, he maybe got awful, but he usually has some modicum of respect for his house lady or whoever she is. This one, he shoots up her pillows. If he'd done to me, he'd be buying me more pillows. I'm just saying.
True. I will say this, though. One thing upon my rewatch of this, I think that this was the first time I'd seen Sherlock Holmes, or a caricature of Sherlock Holmes, portrayed as being a dick, pretty much.
Yeah.
If you go back to the original novels, I don't think he comes across as strongly.
Right.
Yeah.
I grew up reading Sherlock Holmes. I loved the radio productions with Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce. I think that has influenced a lot of Sherlock Holmes, the way people view it.
Right.
But I think this was basically the first time I ever saw like a Sherlock Holmes-esque character being a dick, pretty much.
Except, of course, for the Benedict Cumberbatch version.
Right.
Well,
He is also pretty much a stone cold devil at first.
that's what I wanted to lead
I mean,
into, yes.
Yes.
Dick is
Also
kind of in his
speak-
name, so
Oh, yeah.
Right?
yeah.
Also, speaking of Basil Rathbone,
Mhm.
he was the voice of the actual Sherlock Holmes
Oh.
in The Great Mouse Detective.
Yes, that was Basil Rathbone. He was the voice of Sherlock Holmes in this, and that was done posthumously after his death. It was, in fact, a recording from an audiobook he did for Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, wow.
They didn't get Nigel Bruce's voice for Watson for some reason. I don't know why. It was,
Fountain of knowledge, fountain of knowledge, fountain of knowledge.
if you want random
It's over
trivia,
me.
I am there. But
Yes.
you mentioned Benedict Cumberbatch.
Mm.
And yes, I think that those two are quite comparable in their own way. Though I think he has a bit more heart to him sometimes. Not Benedict.
Cumberbatch?
No, not Cumberbatch, no.
Oh,
No, I'm saying Basil.
Yeah.
Because towards the end, what you see.
Yeah.
I really
he
think they're
cares a little more.
comparable, though.
Oh, they are.
Because, again, if you watch the series Sherlock,
Mhm.
he does have a heart. But the thing that I found in this rewatch of The Great Mouse Detective, because, again, I grew up on this too, but in the rewatch, I'm just looking at him going, he's awful. It's not that he doesn't understand social mores and cues and rules. He's just very selfish.
Right.
Very much so.
In the beginning, that's all he is just
I don't know.
selfish and obsessed. Why is he so obsessed with Radigan that he's got a picture of him on his wall? I
Oh.
don't think that they are simply rivals. I
Right.
think maybe they were old flames, because why does he have a picture of him on his wall? He's the only one with the picture. I mean, Radigan, who is the antagonist,
Hmm. Voiced by the amazing and sadly late Vincent Price, who,
Scream King,
oh my god, that man is just,
Man Crush.
Oh yeah.
oh
Man
my
Crush
god,
Monday.
yes.
So anyway, though, like, I feel like Radigan dealt with the breakup a little bit better than Basil, because
Well-
Radigan didn't have a picture. He knows how the other guy thinks, but he doesn't have a picture that he's staring at. Basil, on the other hand, he's like, that guy, and he has a picture right there. It's not even like he can pull it out and be like, so for reference, it's this guy. He's like, he's got him there
I mean-
all the time, to look at him
When-
all the time.
When you break up with a narcissist.
Yeah.
You know, it's so Radigan probably has like a big picture of himself.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that, but why did Basil keep it up?
Because it's hard to let go. You know.
I suppose.
At
But-
some point, you just gotta burn that picture, eat some cookie dough, drink some red wine.
Right.
Maybe watch
Or
Dirty
wait.
Dancing. How about he just watch Dirty Dancing? Is that okay?
That's yeah.
Well, if
Okay.
you don't have a problem with the age
No one puts
difference.
Basil in the corner.
Yes! Thank you!
Maybe on a nice pasta dish, but not in the
Oh
corner.
god.
Okay, the
Wait,
pasta
yes.
dish.
Okay, yeah.
Shoot him.
With pleasure. Oh, remember, folks, the patented pun gun is back. That's right. Whenever we get a pun, usually from Teddy, we get to play Russian roulette.
And before
Where's
we
my
actually
blindfolded
shoot
cigarette?
you, I'd just like to make sure that you know the first pun was appreciated, the one on the pasta was not.
No.
All right.
Ready? Oh, yes!
Oh my god, right in the face!
Right in the face, too.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
You wounded my pride more than anything. But
Sorry.
We've made contact, folks.
First time ever!
I feel like a pile of pillows.
for
But
the
I
next
do,
one.
I do think we need to talk about the other characters.
Yes, we definitely do.
Starts off with
Mhm.
Toy
Yes.
Maker Mouse.
Flaversham.
Flaversham.
Whatever.
Yeah. And he has a little daughter named Olivia. And it is her birthday, I believe.
Yes,
Yes.
it is. And can we just, I need to interject for just one moment.
Yes.
Oh my god, that Scottish accent for that little mouse was just the most adorable thing ever.
Yes.
For both of them.
Oh, yes. And who voiced Flaversham?
Why the man
Scrooge
whose name I
McDuck.
can't. Yes.
Yeah.
The Scrooge McDuck.
It's
voice.
Scrooge McDuck! Oh, sorry, I love that voice.
And the actor is a person. Sam or Scrooge McDuck or
Toy Maker Man.
Toy Maker Man
Mouse.
or Help
Mouse.
Mouse Man.
Thingy.
Yeah.
Guy. Moving on.
Yes.
He's making a little toy for his daughter Olivia, who is adorable, and he is accosted by one of Radigan's men, a bat named Fidget.
Yes.
I gotta just interject one more time. Fidget's introduction scared the living crap out of me as a kid.
Yeah.
That wasn't the one that scared me the most. When there's a toy scene later.
Oh, yeah.
Is it possible to show
Oh,
that?
Yes, it
Where
is.
where he pops up out of the bassinet? That terrified me as a child.
Ooh. Fidget had some really scary moments.
I actually wanted to kind of build off of what you said in regards to the toy that he was making for his child. The toy maker, Flaversham, makes this beautiful ballerina doll for Olivia, which, side note, I'll pay for this. I wanted a toy exactly like that as a kid. Never got one.
Yeah.
And the reason why I never got one, I am absolutely sure of this, is because that kind of technology just still does not exist.
Not really. I mean,
Did
not in
you
clockwork
see?
form.
The fluid movements,
Right.
I'm pretty sure that was not a toy at all, but that he captured some poor little person and put a crank on her back. And then he's like, dance, tiny mouse,
And
dance.
then Radican killed her.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's...
God.
Yeah.
Should just...
Finish it, Flaversham!
But I will say that, I mean, maybe Flaversham wasn't such a great guy if he captured that poor little itty-bitty mouse. But I get it. Excellent technology. He's the best of the best. But then why does that robot that he makes later snap, crackle, and pop like a bowl of Rice Krispies? That thing is not nearly so sophisticated.
Actually, it's more sophisticated than the other one because the ballerina, the clockwork gears in that were set to do one thing.
Several things in a very fluid motion.
No, I know, but it's set to do several things, but it can only do that. It cannot deviate from that at all.
Plus, we don't know how long it took for him to make it.
Yes.
He could have been making that for a while.
Then why does the robot snap, crackle, and pop?
But he had to do that in
He had
a
that
day.
in 2 nights. He had like 2 nights to get this thing done.
Oh, all right.
So I'm going to
Makes
give
sense.
him
No,
that.
thank you.
Also-
Thank you for demystifying that part for me.
Also,
You got to consider the logistics with talking mice.
Yeah.
And
and talking rats and bats
exactly.
and everything
Carry
else.
on. You were saying?
But yes, I think in all honesty, the fact that the machines that he created for Radigan, 1, were life-size, much larger. 2, they had to be controlled. So that's basically a remote control aspect to it, which the other one was just preset to do something.
Yes.
This one had to be able to make all these gestures and do voice
The
change.
voice, yeah.
So yeah, I think they were actually a bit more advanced, but at the
Fair
same
enough.
time,
He only had 2 nights.
2
I
nights
get
to
that.
do it. Yeah.
2 nights to do all the things that he didn't do with the toy. Thank you for demystifying that.
No worries. But yeah, plan itself with Radigan was, well, he wants to become the ruler of London by kidnapping the queen, replacing her with a robot that basically...
Spoilers.
Yes, spoilers, big time.
This came out in 1986. You should have already seen it.
Right.
Yeah, you should have, and if you haven't, shame on you. Shame, 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 shame.
Ding ding.
Yeah.
Sit down, be humble.
Learn something.
Yeah.
So, Radigan's plot.
Radigan's plot was pretty standard fare. I mean, I thought it was pretty basic, but also enjoyable.
Right.
But what really made it so fantastic, Vincent Price! Oh my God, this performance. This is a man who, no matter what you give him, he will always do a good job.
Right.
Yes, and I mean, we can definitely fanboy, fangirl
Yeah.
Well, one of the, oh, sorry.
over his voice acting, which of course was incredible, as was his singing.
Oh
Because
yes.
this is a musical. There were musical numbers in this.
I think he had the only song in there.
No.
No. No. There was also
The cabaret.
The cabaret.
Well, it wasn't a main character, so
She was my role model.
I remember seeing it as a
What?
kid
What?
and seeing the little mouse, and I was like,
fan art of her.
Now I have to.
I was kind of like as a kid, I'm like,
Clearly you did.
I really like this mouse lady for some reason,
Yeah.
and I think my feelings are wrong. but
We'll touch more on that later.
Yeah, he's hoping to.
um,
Hence the fan art.
Maybe we should get a shame jar.
yes.
Like, just Teddy's shame.
Why are we picking on Ted all the time?
It's an easy target.
Yeah.
A little bit.
We love you, man. It's okay.
We love
Somebody has
picking
to.
on you. But yeah, there were
adult.
several songs.
Yes.
There were
They
several songs.
Mhm.
Not just hers, not just Radigan's. There was another one. I know there was another one.
So long, farewell.
No, that was
Well, that was him.
That was
Mr.
Radigan, yeah.
Crisis. No, there was another one.
Yeah, there was the Radigan song.
Yeah.
He had two.
Radigan.
To
Yeah.
Radigan, that one.
Radigan.
To
Yeah.
Radigan. Okay, and we need to talk about that.
Yes,
We need to talk about that musical number specifically, the Radigan song,
Mm-hmm.
because he's having a meeting with all of his cronies, and then all of a sudden he's like walking down, getting ready to sing a song,
Mhm.
and a spotlight just drops on him. He suddenly just got a spotlight, and I'm thinking of all the cronies, of all the jobs you have for these people. You have somebody up in the rafters that's just like, wait, I think he's going to do a musical number. Cue spotlight. Cue music.
If you watch carefully during that scene, you actually can see them.
Really?
Yeah, if you watch.
I didn't know there was actually a person up there.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
they're on the chandeliers, and they're swinging, and they position the chandeliers so that the light shines on him more.
Oh.
And they crash at the end.
I didn't even realize that they were actually like doing the spotlight for
Oh,
him. I
it's-
thought there was like somebody else that's like, all right.
That's
go for
my
it.
interpretation.
Follow him.
I mean, when you're that much of a criminal genius and diva,
Yes.
And they all knew the words.
yeah.
They all knew the words too. So yes, he's a diva, but can you imagine like how long he spent in choreography?
Yeah.
He's like, okay, so I'm gonna do this when I want you to shine a spotlight on me.
Yeah.
Cue the music. Now you guys all have to learn these words by next Tuesday. I'm gonna sing this.
Oh, excuse me, Radigan. Just got a quick question for you. Now, is it left, right, 1, 2, 1, 2, kick, ball, change? Or is it... Okay, I guess it is!
And then he rings the bell
Yeah.
for Felicia, the cat.
Oh,
Shouldn't we just
And-
roll people?
I mean, come on! This isn't exact... they don't teach this in Henshin 101. That's in Henshin 102!
You gotta pass this one first.
Oh.
And on top of that,
Mhm.
okay, if they don't get the choreography right or whatever else, he rings that little bell. It's a good day for his kitty Felicia
Mhm.
if somebody upsets him, and I'm gonna guess she has a lot of good days because
Yeah.
look at this cat.
Oh, Radigan. Oh, Radigan.
She is voluptuous.
BBW.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's actually a very good way of putting it,
Yeah.
lightly. But we also have to address the fact that the first person who you see get eaten by it, which I gotta admit is a rather disturbing imagery.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, then-
especially with how everyone's reacting to it, because they're like, oh god.
Right?
Was this little drunk mouse
Yeah.
that accidentally called him a rat.
Which was the truth.
Yeah.
Right.
But that right there gives you insight into the world of the story, because he hates being called a rat.
He hates being called what he
Yes.
is.
Right.
But everyone hates rats in this
Yeah.
world.
They're racist. They're ratsist.
I suppose you could.
I
Am
think
I getting
because
shot with the gun? That was
You
kind
know
of
what? That
bad,
was a pun.
actually.
That was a bad pun. So
Not the face.
You ready?
Yeah.
Oh, wow!
Oh, wow.
Oh!
I'm surprised! You guys you guys are shit at this game! Seriously! Wow!
Wow.
It's a good thing I don't make puns.
Yeah.
Knowing our luck, jeez.
It's
So,
sad.
I'm
We've been
sorry.
doing great in Vegas
I will
right
also pay, because that was kind of a tangent on my part.
Well, you know.
So, you know, the ratsists
Yeah.
you were
Yes.
talking about,
now. I think he's upset because that's his word, you know.
right?
Yeah,
I agree.
you don't use that. That is my word.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Poor
So-
Radigan.
Yeah, I
Right.
know. We felt so bad for him.
Yeah,
Oh, come on.
not
It's
really.
in his name. Come on.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's being a bit.
On the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So yeah, I agree with you. That is actually something much deeper about the film is
Mhm.
the mice accept each other, but maybe they don't necessarily accept rats. And he's been trying to Voldemort all of this shit. He's
I could see that.
yeah, cause like Voldemort is like what?
Just, I love that you turned it into a verb.
Thank
it makes
you.
me happy.
Thank you. I had a feeling that's
Mhm.
probably
That's
what
gonna be a
appealed to you.
T-shirt on
He
our store.
Voldemorted it.
I Voldemorted that shit.
Do you want shirts? Do you want shirts, folks? Let us know. We will make them.
We'll have
We wanna give you
we'll have
shirts.
Samuel Jackson. It's like Afro motherfucking Cadabra. Or what? I screwed it up, but you get it.
Yeah.
Avada fucking Kedavra.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, he did, because Voldemort was all about those purebloods,
Mm-hmm.
and he was all about being seen as a pureblood when he wasn't really.
Right.
And then Radigan, of course, was about being seen as a mouse
Right.
when he wasn't really.
He also wanted to be seen as sophisticated.
He did.
Yes.
And he knew about sophisticated things. He was a very sophisticated person, but he had this underlying animalistic nature more so than any other character in it. And during that final scene in the
Yes,
show,
when he
when
takes the
when he
stuff
just
off.
loses it and you see
Right.
his temper.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire film, you see these glimpses of his temper where he just gets so angry and everything. And there is one thing I want to note about this, and this is also, I might be doing a little fanboying right now, but this is what actually happened. During the recording for the audio, the animators came in and watched Vincent Price, and he just didn't read the lines. He acted everything out.
That makes sense.
He's a professional.
He is a professional.
was.
And they took they watched him, and they based all of Radigan's movements on what he was doing.
That is awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That is really
That is
cool.
actually really
Yeah.
cool. And no, that's not fanboying. That's
No.
an amazing piece of
That's,
trivia.
well, I mean, Disney did that a lot. I mean,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he may have not been the
Dwayne
best
Johnson
person.
kind of did that a little bit
Yeah.
with Maui.
Well,
so,
that's
yeah.
been throughout the history of the
Yeah.
movies
Mhm.
because they actually had actors come in
Yeah.
and like Snow White's a beautiful film because it's basically a painting that moves,
Yeah.
and that's the feel that he went for specifically.
Yes.
They,
I know that's a tangent, but I'm
No, it's
I know-
alright.
okay.
They almost... Well, actually, they recycled a lot of footage, too. That was another thing
Right.
they did. I mean, if you look at the... if you look at Sword in the Stone and Jungle Book, the scenes where the characters are playing with the wolves or the dogs, that is verbatim the exact same scene,
Right.
just redone.
Mm.
And then the dancing scene in Snow White is the exact same dance that Maid Marian does in Robin Hood.
Yes.
So there is a lot of reuse
And
of
then
footage
you
for that.
actually get to see a little bit of that with, I think it's Sleeping Beauty and Beauty and the Beast with the ballroom dancing
Yeah.
scene.
I don't know,
I
actually.
could be mistaken
No, I think
on
you're right.
exactly which two films, but there was like a ballroom
No, there was
dancing
a lot of reused
scene.
film
Yeah.
footage, but
yeah.
Why not? If
Well,
you
yeah,
can,
you can
why
reuse
not?
it. Why not?
They reused the head from Rapunzel for Elsa, I believe.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they do
Let's see.
reuse whatever they can, which
I
I, think
honestly
is
thought it was
amazing.
just-
Why not?
I thought they were just going for a similar style, but I'd have to look into that.
Yeah.
No,
Huh.
I heard that there was that they're like head twins or something.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
But
Also tangent.
oh yes, tangent, of course, yes.
And second, it's time to consult our notes.
Yes, it is. Let's see. Mhm.
Dawson.
Dawson, yes, we do have to get to Dawson, and I do want to
Yeah.
pull up his voice actor's name because it
There was also
very
something
interesting.
else I was gonna say, and I kind of.
Mhm.
I kind of forgot what it was. It was about a bigger,
Oh, here's what I wanted to show you.
overarching.
This popped up oddly enough when I was. This is for IMDb, like when you Google the
Yeah.
characters. Now watch this. All right. That's what they have listed for Miss Kitty Mouse.
Oh my.
What is it?
That's the official image they use.
Wow.
Yeah.
My goodness. Okay. Looking all
Yeah.
mouth.
I have no words.
Yeah,
I told you.
I just need to drink something.
Mm-hmm.
Anything. I don't care. It could be bleach.
Furries.
Yep.
Huh?
Furries.
For real.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, David.
Hey, I mean, whatever makes you happy. It's
Yeah.
just. I don't know.
Val Bitten? Is that Bit?
I think that's Benton.
Betten?
Yeah.
Betten. Val Betten. Alright. Val Betten.
Okay.
Everyone ready?
One sec. Let me
Certainly.
look. Again, I cannot, for the life of me, remember what I was gonna say. I mean, it wasn't on here, so.
Hmm.
Oh well. All right. Yep.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So we've talked a lot about Radigan, and we've talked a lot about just Basil. So we should probably talk about
Dawson.
Dawson. Yeah.
Dawson is kind of, he's the character that introduces us
Yes.
to
Mhm.
Mr. Basil.
Yes.
Didn't you know last name?
David Q. Dawson. Dawson was his last name.
Oh, I was talking about Basil.
Basil.
Basil's last name? I don't know.
Basil of Baker Street is what they only called him. So
Yeah.
I don't think he really
Baker
had.
Street.
I don't think he had a last name in all
Yeah, I
honesty.
don't think so.
Well-
So Dawson.
Yeah,
Right,
Dawson.
so Dawson. Dawson was basically he was Mouse Watson.
Yes.
For the most part, he was a surgeon coming from Afghanistan,
Mm-hmm.
from the military,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And which
Military doctor.
Watson was the same.
Yeah.
And he happens upon the little girl Olivia.
Olivia.
Yeah.
Olivia, and this is just after her father had been taken, and she was looking for Basil. And you know, he being the kindly man that he is, he escorted her, and then the plot ensued. So
Right. Now, let's actually talk about Dawson for a minute, because he, as well as Watson, is always kind of an enigma for me. Because, yes, okay, he's a military guy, yes, okay, he's a doctor. How is he so mild-mannered and yet clueless? I'm not saying that he's going to be super aggressive, but I also wouldn't expect him to be kind of the doormat that he usually is in all of these varying forms that he's
Yeah.
taken over the years. He's kind of a doormat, and that shocks the shit out of me, because he's a military guy and not a grunt. He's a surgeon, okay?
yeah.
He's got some clout, he's got some talent, he's a
Right.
smart guy. So how is he so bumbling, and how is he so, passive?
I think it's just a case of if it was surgery, he'd probably take the lead because surgery is his thing.
Yes.
It's not Basil's department.
Right.
Basil's department is solving a crime. He just kind of gets taken along the ride, and just because he's a surgeon in the military doesn't mean he's a soldier. Sometimes,
As I said, I
yeah,
understand why
right.
he wouldn't have an aggressive
so
demeanor.
he wouldn't be very aggressive. But
I
he's
mean, just
more.
being such a pushover is what I mean.
In that regards, I might be able to shed some light on that.
Okay.
That actually stems back to, once again, Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce. Nigel Bruce played up the comedic aspect. He was the comic relief.
Oh, okay.
And for the longest time, Watson was the comic relief. He was the...
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And in some ways, one could say, if you want to, it's a bit annoying to do this, but he is the audience's introduction. He is the
Yeah.
substitute for the
Right.
audience. The audience doesn't know what the heck's going on. We're
That's
not
not
smart.
bad to say. That makes sense.
No.
True, but at the same time, it can be seen as a... If the character that's supposed to represent the audience is as dumb as a bag of bricks, then yeah, that can get quite insulting. And I hate
Yeah.
to say it, I love Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce, but Nigel Bruce's character came across as a complete moron half the time.
Yeah.
And the fact that he could function, let alone do anything, was always incredible, it seemed.
Yeah,
It's
I
kinda-
mean, and I really liked Dawson as a character. Honestly, I did. But like when he couldn't even figure out that the finger hole was to open a door, like, come on now.
Yeah. But I will say that one thing I do want to mention is the voice actor for Dawson. And it is a Disney alumni. Val Benton is the voice actor, and he is most famous for voicing the Sultan in Aladdin.
I knew it.
Oh.
And he was also he also played Santa Claus in Ernest Saves Christmas.
Hey.
Oh.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Those movies.
Yeah. He's actually a really good voice actor, and he just seems so friendly. He really does. His characters have a lot of heart, and I give him a lot of credit for that.
He has the right voice for it.
He really does.
He's got a very kindly voice.
And on that, it's kind of Dawson. There is a scene where Dawson kind of humanizes Basil,
Mhm.
Yes.
despite them being mice.
Yeah,
But you get it.
Yeah.
But there's a scene where there's a big fudge up, and
Mhm.
Dawson feels bad because he
Uh-huh.
feels it's his fault.
Yeah.
They lose Olivia.
Olivia.
And Basil is upset with Dawson. He's like, "You were supposed to watch her,"
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
Dawson felt really bad, and then
Right.
Basil felt bad for yelling at him.
It was
Yeah.
nice to see that.
Yeah, it was
Mhm.
nice
It
to kind of
was.
see him try and reassure him. You know, it's so then you
It's
think
okay.
Basil's not that much of a
He's
dick.
not
No.
all bad.
No, he's
He's
not.
not all bad.
And this is one thing I do like about it, though, because after that humanizing moment, he goes back and they use scientific logic and reasoning to figure out where Ratigan's hiding.
Right.
And it's really fun to watch. I
Right.
love the setup they had and everything. And it's one of the few times you actually see, I don't know if this is correct to say, but it's one of the times few times you see an actual intelligent Disney hero
Right.
who's not just bumbling for
Right.
the most part. Because let's face it, a lot of them they're not stupid, but they're
Right.
not like very smart or
A
intelligent.
lot of happening upon
Right.
things.
Yes.
I will say though, the setup by Ratigan was incredible.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
actually was
Yeah.
really impressive to me,
Mhm.
more than anything else.
That's
Just
probably my favorite scene in the movie.
yeah.
Oh, it really
Yeah.
is.
The fact that he like knew exactly what his rival was gonna do and set up all the pieces, all the
Mhm.
little breadcrumbs, and then
Ah.
literally rolled out a banner to welcome him
Right.
Such
to
an
falling-
insult.
Right.
to falling into his trap. And I mean, I know we've already reviewed Megamind, but I just have to say the difference between a villain and a supervillain is presentation.
Yes.
And he really is a supervillain because that was
Oh.
some bomb presentation. He was planning it though.
I know.
Not only did he plan the welcome and tearing him apart, which he wrote him a song.
Yeah.
Oh my, I love that song so much. He sets up a Rube Goldberg death trap,
Yes.
and he has it to end when the song he's written and performed
recorded. Yeah.
finishes.
Can you imagine that? Like, I know he's gonna fall into my trap, so he's like, he straps on the headphones and he's like, so long.
Farewell. Hold on.
Yeah.
That's pitchy.
Right?
So.
Yeah. Goodbye, so soon. Yeah.
And isn't it a crime? We know by now that time knows how to fly.
And then later on, when
Oh.
he just like laughs during one of the notes, goodbye. You know.
Oh, so
it was
much fun.
it was so good, but again, just the flair of the villainy
Mhm.
Right.
was amazing.
There is one song we do have to talk about. We've hinted at it. We're going to have to talk about this scene. What we haven't really talked about yet in this film is there's a lot of stuff you would never see in a Disney film in this anymore. There are people smoking.
Mhm.
There are actual guns that look like actual guns.
Yeah.
There are knives being thrown all over the place.
Yeah.
There is pipes being smoked. There is beer being drunk.
Right.
There's straight up references to alcohol at all.
Adultiness.
Yeah, very much
so
adult.
much adultiness.
And then they go to a dive bar. Cabaret, I'd say more.
It was a little bit cabaret, a little bit
Yeah.
burlesque.
Yes, we
When
have...
she took off her clothes, it was no longer cabaret. I feel like then it became burlesque.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, she did kind of strip a little bit. which is in a Disney film.
Yes.
We have a burlesque/cabaret performance in a Disney film.
Yeah.
Not only can she sing, she can take off her clothes.
Mm-hmm.
She's multifaceted.
Very true. Now here's the funny thing. Originally that was supposed to be Madonna.
I think the voice that they have for it, though, is flawless.
Phenomenal. She's
I love that, like, just that little bit of raspiness.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was really good. I don't remember the voice actor for her,
Yeah.
but
Melissa Winchester, I want to say.
I think you're right, yeah. But the thing I found funny is the only reason they were able to get away with that scene at all was because it was a mouse.
That makes sense.
And I'm positive that scene is responsible for quite a few people discovering their sexuality.
Yeah, a little bit.
Sorry,
little bit.
for me it had to be Jasmine in that little red number.
Actually, for me, it was Donatello.
I'll pay for that one
The
too.
turtle?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh my.
Indeed. Well, we all have our...
Was it his staff?
No.
Oh.
Was it Corey Feldman's voice?
Maybe.
Fair enough.
Mostly just that he was so ridiculously, incredibly smart.
Oh.
And a sweetie pie.
Mhm.
He was an absolute cinnamon roll.
He was.
And really, really smart.
Mm-hmm.
But I digress.
Oh,
I've
yes.
already paid for my
Yes,
tangent.
you did.
Yes.
But you did actually bring me to another interesting point.
Mhm.
I'm about to bring you to PC Corner over here.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I seem to do in pretty much every review. Yes, we're going here this time as well.
Lay it on
prefer a
us.
Mac.
Yes. What?
I prefer a Mac, but
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
not the face.
Damn it!
Aha!
He
well,
really
lucky.
deserved it that time, though.
He did.
Bob, do it
maybe not.
again.
No, he has to do it
I'm
anyway.
joking. I'm joking.
So PC.
Anyway, though, all right. So you did bring me to an interesting point, which is, of course, that she is basically in her underwear. And that alone wouldn't bother me. You know, I actually do support strippers and other kinds of sex work. I'm cool with that. But what I found a little disturbing about this otherwise child-friendly film
Mhm.
is actually that she's not the only pair of bloomers we see in this film. We see the queen being drug away and we get to see her frilly bloomers. But then we see Olivia, the baby mouse, the little girl. We see her underwear no less than 3 separate times. Here, here, and here.
Stay where you are, or the girl dies.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
kind of surprised by the amount of panty shots from the little mouse girl.
Oh.
But they weren't in sexual ways.
Perhaps not, but were they necessary?
Well, let's put it this way.
When they're drawing her in her skirt or whatever, great. Okay, she's got a skirt. I get sometimes upskirting happens.
Yeah.
We've all seen it in life and
Mhm.
on this channel. Like, we've seen it, okay? But she's a kid. Like, you couldn't have drawn the skirt covering that part. You just had to show the underwear. You're already drawing anthropomorphic mice. I think reality has gone out the window at this point.
Well,
Yeah.
as I said, I think it's to do with the fact that she is a child and none of it was sexualized. I mean, let's think about it. Look at, like, Rugrats.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
in a diaper. I feel like
He's in a
that's
diaper,
different.
but the girl, Phil and Lil were in, like, a skirt and stuff, and when she would bend over, she was in her diaper.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Those are diapers. This is a girl who presumably knows to shit in a pot now.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
No, I agree with you.
is it necessary? That's what I'm asking. Was it necessary to draw those shots in that way? Yes, okay, maybe it was innocent, but again, why did they have to draw that?
No, you bring up a good point.
Yeah.
That is something. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think it's an issue? Tell us below. What
Yeah.
do you think?
Yeah.
Is it
Mice
an
panty
issue?
shots.
Is it an issue? Is it,
Something that turns you off from the film a bit? Do you feel that, like, it sexualized the character in some way?
do you feel it was just plain unnecessary? Or were you just like, you know what? It's underwear. Whatever. I'm just saying though, like, of the male characters were in their underwear. It was all of the female characters. You know, so it's kind of something that I feel should be mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it wasn't that serious, maybe it was, and people didn't even realize it at the time. So another thing, actually, that I want to bring up is this happens a lot in animated films, and I feel like films in general, but if there is a character with a disability, they are pretty much a shoo-in to be a villain, and Fidget was no different. Fidget had a crippled wing and a pegged leg, shoo-in for a villain.
I mean, it was kind of a common trope in detective stories. Like, there was always some guy with, like, a limp or some, like, a hook hand
and you
or
pretty
something.
much knew that they were going to be the
Yeah.
bad guy, didn't you?
And I think they were just kind of paying homage to that. I don't know if they were, like...
I get that, but...
I get your issue.
And I'm not
What they
saying
did,
that the
yeah.
film wasn't enjoyable, even still, but I
But
mean...
I did kind of like Fidget, so...
Oh,
Yeah, he was... And I think it was just... I don't think they were as sensitive back then, unfortunately.
It's... I know, like, what you're saying, but the thing about being sensitive, that also has a connotation. Oh, you're sensitive. Don't think about it. Rub some dirt on it, champ. And, like, in some ways, yes. But if literally all you're seeing of your representation is how characters that look like you are bumbling idiots, or they have very little importance in the role, or they're always villains, like, you have to keep in mind, you get sick of seeing the same old shit for people that look like
I feel that way about bearded fellows, so...
Okay, well,
Yeah,
see, then
yeah.
you do actually
Yeah.
understand. Are you being sensitive? No.
No.
It means you want to see something different.
In all honesty, it never really mattered much to me, but that's just me. I mean, that's me. I know about representation and all. But the fact that he had a disability, or a preconceived disability, never really mattered all that much to me. I just saw him as an amusing character. Yeah, I mean, the fact that he had a disability, or the peg leg, only really came into play when they were tracking him, and the fact that he couldn't fly. But when I was younger, that went over my head a bit, I gotta admit. I assumed he couldn't fly well because, you know, he'd literally just been shoved into a cat's mouth and chewed on. And he literally was filled with holes in his stuff. So that was that was young me thinking that now.
Right.
But in the rewatch, I was just like, he was one of the more capable characters.
He really was.
He was. He was one of the most capable and dependable of
I mean,
Radigan's
he was
men.
And yet he was shit on.
Oh, yeah.
He was a villain. He was shit on. He, you know, he didn't get appreciated. He was the comic relief in terms of bad things happening to him.
True, yes.
I'm not saying that bad things didn't happen to the other characters.
Oh, yeah.
But just to kind of build off of Fidget for a second in a different way. We talked about whatever he gets shit on. A particular bit of interest to me was actually when they had to lighten the load on the airship.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't Radigan get rid of the kid? You have a loyal crony. Do you know how hard those are to find? You get rid of the kid, well, I guess the movie's over and kind of a bummer.
Well, it's the kid was an insurance policy.
Except she wasn't at that point. He's on the run. She's a liability. Up her squirty ass.
I could see that, but at the same time, if push comes to shove, he has the option of using her as leverage. So
Still, you think so?
Yeah.
I think at some point,
Fair enough.
but at the same time, in your regard, yeah, they could have just dropped him, and they would have had to go after her.
Exactly.
So yeah. So
I guess
I think
if they
it was a
dropped
panic
her,
moment.
probably.
the movie would have been shorter and probably a bummer.
Because in that moment he's in escape mode. I need
to have my backup plan, and his backup plan probably was I can use her as a hostage.
Yeah.
You don't get rid of the hostage if they can be of use later. I guess
Right.
is his thinking.
Yeah.
But
That
I agree
makes
with you.
sense. No, that actually makes more
But in
sense.
all fairness, Fidget did choose the wrong side.
Yes.
He chose.
He did.
You know, he could have walked away, and be like,
He could have been eaten by a cat.
you know, it's just like you could have told Radigan, screw you, you sewer rat, and
And he would have gotten eaten.
yeah. But
I mean, why didn't Flaversham do it? He had things to lose.
Right,
Yeah.
Same as
exactly.
Fidget probably did.
His life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah.
So I do get what you're both saying, though, about
Yeah.
leverage. That does make more sense. And that was not something I thought of. My thought was, they've already got you on the run. There's literally nothing else you can do now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got to lighten the load to move faster, dump the kid. Just, like, be a true villain and throw the kid off the edge.
Yeah.
Well,
you
they
know?
even have that line in the song about drowning poor widows and orphans.
Right?
Right.
That was an awesome line, by the
Right.
way.
It was. It was so unexpected.
But if he hadn't kept her, they wouldn't have had that awesome scene in the clock tower,
That's true.
which was the first use of CGI in an animated film to have both 2D and 3D together. Like CG.
Plus-
That was the first time they ever
Plus,
used that.
we've missed one of the most important factors here.
What's that?
Disney movie.
Huh?
Disney movie.
Oh, yeah.
Can't exactly go throwing kids off boats.
Like I said,
Yeah.
the movie would have been very different.
Yeah.
Shorter, and also a
Yeah.
bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't have panned out.
If it'd been the villain, well, it was the villain who got
It
thrown
was the
over.
villain. Yeah, Disney doesn't care about killing people that they deem unworthy.
Or mothers, apparently.
Or
Yeah.
mothers. All the dead mothers.
Well, well, interesting fact about that, and I know it's a tangent.
Mm-hmm.
When Walt Disney lost his mother,
Mhm.
that was actually his decision. It was more of he couldn't deal with the pain
Right?
of the loss of his mother. So,
Right.
and it's weird, but that's why there's not mothers in most
that makes
of the
sense.
early films because
That
he
makes
just
sense.
he couldn't handle it. So that wasn't anything against mothers. It was more of, he was close.
That actually,
and,
yeah, that's a really cool
so
tidbit
that's
to know. Yeah.
Now we know.
I was gonna say fun fact, but that's
Depressing fact!
depressing fact.
Yay!
Confetti.
Well, folks,
Sad confetti.
yes, sad confetti. With that, I
Rain.
think we've done pretty well. You know our thoughts on it.
Right.
We want to know your guys' thoughts. Do you guys agree with our opinion? Do you like this film? Do you hate it? Do you really, really like the cabaret scene?
Right.
Who doesn't?
It's cabaret or
Right.
burlesque. You can't
And
go
life
wrong with
is a cabaret, old
it.
chum.
Mhm.
So come. to the
Come
cabaret.
To the one of my favorite musicals.
Make
of
a
all
lot
time.
of cheddar.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna rewatch the film later and definitely come for the cabaret.
Oh yes,
Oh yeah.
he will. Yeah.
Double
hope you-
entendre. It's what we do here.
Entendres upon entendres upon entendres.
And now you just sound dirty.
It's supposed to. Well, folks, we hope you've enjoyed the review, and Sunny, we hope you enjoyed especially. As usual, I'm Stu,
I'm Lish.
Teddy.
and we are Animation Triad!
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more, let us know what your favorite part of this review was, hit that notifications bell so that way you never miss an update.
And who knows, if you hit that bell, Felicia might show up.
Yeah, but now they're not gonna hit it.
But then they can say, bye, Felicia!
Ah! Shoot him. Damn it!
Oh!
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Time so short, I'll say so long and go so soon. Goodbye.
Bye, Felicia.